Now, 7:43. What do Ozzy Osbourne, Jamelia and Adele all have in common? Well, they are all proud Brummies.
But not everyone is so fond of our accents, and it's repeatedly voted as one of the worst in the UK. Some studies have gone so far to say it can hold you back in life. One thing we are known for is our sense of humour, so got some of you to tell us your best Brummie jokes. Brace yourself, loves.
What do you call a Brummie that fixes TV aerials? Antennae.
I went to this fancy dress party the other day and the theme was spice. So I went as a chilli, but everybody else was dressed as an astronaut.
The other day I went into a tailor's in Birmingham city centre and I asked him for a suit. He said to me, "Would you like a kipper tie with that?" And I thought, yeah, 2 sugars, please.
Now, it's fair to say...
Did you find those jokes funny?
Not really, no. I mean, it's fair to say that the whole point... It wouldn't have been a Brummie who wrote those jokes, so you can't blame Birmingham for those jokes. You know, it would have been somebody from outside of Birmingham, I would have thought.
Well, listen, let's find out what our guests think, because joining us now, 2 leading lights from the Midlands. It's the comedian Shazia Mirza in North London, who says she's happy to make Brummie jokes herself, but it is not OK for others to do it. And from West London broadcaster Adrian Chiles, he thinks jokes about Brummies are absolutely fine, and he says bring them on. A very good morning to both of you. So, Shazia, you think it's time to stop the Brummie jokes, then?
All right, Bab. Well, the thing is, I am from Birmingham. Obviously, I don't live there anymore because I'm doing well. I don't know why people are ashamed to say they're from Birmingham. It looks quite nice now that it's finished. And the thing is, I am a comedian. I do jokes about Birmingham, but every time I do, people from Birmingham come down on me like a ton of bricks and they go, "Why are you running down the city? Other people do that as it is. Why are you adding to that?" But I think, for someone from Birmingham, that's my experience. I'm allowed to make those jokes. But if you're not from Birmingham, that's not your experience, so you shouldn't make the jokes.
Would you go with that, Adrian? It's all right to make the jokes if you're from Birmingham, but everyone else keep quiet?
They just don't. It just doesn't bother me at all. I mean, those jokes were pretty poor anyway. Whatever accents they were, they were mocking. But I mean, for me, I've never heard people really object too much to Brummie jokes, and I think it speaks to what's best about Brummies is that we don't big ourselves up. Everywhere else you go in the country, in Manchester, they don't even consider themselves a second city. They consider themselves the capital. You know, Scousers will tell you they're the greatest city on earth. Glaswegians, Cockneys, Geordies. In Birmingham, we never say that about ourselves. So there was a website, I'm not sure it's going anymore, and I can't use the exact word, the exact title, because it contains a profanity. But the website promoting Birmingham was called Birmingham, It's Not Rubbish. Which, you know, it just says a lot about us. That's the most we're prepared to say about ourselves. We're self-effacing. I think we just be fine with it. There's no point bleating about it. Just sort of wear it.
You're absolutely right. And Shazia, I've got to say, look, I've done OK, and I'm still living in Birmingham, and I absolutely love it. And I think, Adrian, you're absolutely right about that, because I think there was a time when people were, look, we've got to stop, you know, Brummies have got to stop being self-critical about Birmingham. Stop saying, oh, it's just a little bit crap or whatever. And we've got to get behind it. But that didn't last long, I think. I think we suddenly went back to going, oh, we don't care. Manchester and London can do their thing. There just seems to be an idea in Birmingham. It is fairly laid back. They're kind of confident amongst themselves. And I think they're kind of open to criticism, but don't let it get to them.
OK, but to go on about yourself, if a bloke walks into a room and says, I'm fantastic, look at me, I'm brilliant, what a brilliant person I am, you think, well, what an idiot. But so why is it any different for a place? Somebody from Yorkshire, it's God's own county, Yorkshire's brilliant, Yorkshire's lovely, but just don't go on about it. Be cool and let other people say that about you. And if they do, they do. And if they don't, they don't.
So, Shazia, from that point of view, shouldn't you be embracing it, be a bit less sensitive about it and just kind of go with it?
I'm fine about it. I do jokes about the Primark on New Street and Broad Street and you know, people going out and having a good time. I do jokes about Birmingham all the time. It's just that I get criticised by fellow Brummies who say I should stop running down the city, like I'm totally responsible for it. But I mean, I had a friend who went out with someone from Birmingham, and she was told that her accent was like a contraceptive, and she should stop talking. And he stopped going out with her because of that. I mean, some people find it really offensive, and they're not entitled to, because they're not from Birmingham, and they should just shut up about it.
Oh, well, I mean, talking about the accent itself, actually, I mean, the Birmingham accent gets a lot of stick. People say, oh, it sounds a bit thick or it sounds a bit stupid, and there's been some research that says it. But actually, I was saying earlier that if you listen to a lot of TV adverts and radio adverts, they tend to use the Brummie accent because it's seen as being... Actually, there's no side to it. There's no sort of negative side to it. It's fairly warm and open and honest, and I think that's a good thing. I mean, there's some accents, if you think about the Cockney accent, the associations with that, the associations wrongly with the Scouse accent, I think the Brummie accent's fairly innocent, isn't it, Shazia?
Well, the thing with the Brummie accent, whatever you say, it sounds like someone's died.
What do you mean? What on earth do you mean?
That's what people have said to me. Oh, it's a lovely day. It's like anything you say, it just sounds awful. That's what people say to me. They go, oh, yeah, someone got married. It's like, whatever you say sounds so depressing. That's what people have said to me all the time. It sounds like someone's died, whatever you say. Good news, bad news, it just sounds awful.
Well, it is interesting. There is this kind of thing about accentism. And when you look at the stats, a new study has found that there is an enduring hierarchy of accents in the country, and there is prejudice against those who speak with a working-class Birmingham accent. There's a poll on Britain's sexiest accents. Birmingham came quite low down, I'm afraid to say. Number 50 was Birmingham on that scale. But, Adrian, I mean, when we're looking at the stats here, it says that Birmingham was named the UK's funniest city. So isn't it that kind of sense of humour, in a sense, that, you know, that makes Birmingham what it is?
Well, yes, I would say so, but you can't. There's no point. It's wrong if people look down on you, but I don't think there's nothing you can do about it apart from just carry on, wear it, and we'll all get on fine. And I think it's all definitely when I started in journalism, when I started at the BBC, it was definitely to my advantage that people did think I was thick. Because the Birmingham accent, I walked into the office at the BBC, not far from where you are now, actually, with my knuckles dragging along the ground. And they went, who have they got here? Who's this? But all I had to do, I vividly remember in the first sort of planning meeting I had, I was kind of on work experience, I strung a reasonably coherent sentence together. And they all looked at me like, who's this? The lad's a genius. But it's because their expectations were so low. And suddenly, there's like Stephen Hawking or something.
When I look at you, Adrian, all I see is Stephen Hawking. That's what, I think you've got that mind. It's amazing. But you're absolutely right, actually. When people say the Birmingham accent is stupid and Birmingham people are stupid, well, actually, clearly they're not. Birmingham was the home of the Industrial Revolution. So much of invention that's come out of Birmingham, and even now the musicians and the artistry that's coming out there. We're going to host the Commonwealth Games in 2022, an amazing place. So clearly we're not thick. So the people who are going to totally assume that Brummies are thick, the egg's on their face, isn't it? And like your experience there.
Well, yeah, exactly. There was a lot of posh people when I came to university in London, and I was like I was like some performing animal. There was one girl who came up to me at some ball and he says, I've heard about your accent. Go on, just say something so I can hear you. So she said, say Boston again. Go on. And I go, all right, Boston. She, oh, that's going to be funny. And she got one of her friends over and I said that to her as well. Look, I don't care as long as I'm the centre of attention. I'll do anything to get there.
Oh, we know Adrian's technique now. Cheers, Adrian. Always great to speak to you. Adrian Chiles and Shazia Mirza, the comedian. Thanks for joining us.